do your stretches, start your engines, however you prefer to frame this. Let's have a quick look at this to get us in the mood.
Here, in the heart of Indiana, something unique is growing. For generations, sports have not just captivated us. They've ignited ideas and fueled global innovation. And today, we are writing the next chapter on the future of sports, where technology is unlocking new insights on every play, to the training ground where tomorrow's champions are leveraging advanced analytics to refine their competitive edge. In Indiana, we know that winners and losers are separated by just inches. Now, we are pushing the limits of performance to new heights, mastering the smallest details that define success. The brightest minds are here, pushing the world's best athletes forward and driving innovation with unrivaled resources. At Sports Tech HQ, we're turning what if into what's next.
Right, the scene is set. Well, if I could use that technology for tracking our speakers across the GEC, that would be very good. That's my special request. For now, though, please welcome to the stage the Director of Marketing for Sports Tech HQ. It's Brian Alka.
Good morning. Welcome to Indiana. In this session today, you'll see what happens when bold ideas, cross-sector collaboration, and relentless innovation collide in a place that refuses to wait for the future. You'll hear what it took to build one of the most connected and collaborative sports ecosystems in the world, and how that foundation has turned this state into one of the only places in the world truly equipped to lead the future of sports technology. This isn't a concept, it's not a vision board or a someday pitch. What you'll hear about today is real, and it's happening right here in Indiana. At Sports Tech HQ, our slogan is simple: the future of sports starts here. But you probably wouldn't be the first to ask, here, as in Indiana? Why would there be a global hub for sports technology in the heart of the heartland? That answer lies in a century-long commitment to sport and an acknowledgement that we're not San Francisco, New York, or Boston. And we're proud of that. Ours is a culture of intention, where every move has purpose, where access isn't earned through status, but shared through community, and where collaboration isn't a buzzword. It's how we get things done. The story of Indiana as a leader in sports innovation begins over a century ago. Picture this with me. It's 1909, and 500 workers have rallied around a bold and probable idea: to build a 2.5-mile brick and asphalt oval on the west side of Indianapolis. That idea became the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, now known as the racing capital of the world. But here's what most people miss. It wasn't built for racing, at least not initially. At the time, the automobile was still in its infancy. Cars weren't consumer conveniences, they were experimental machines. And in 1909, cars were the cutting-edge technology of their time. And the Speedway, it served as a live lab, a proving ground where engineers could push these machines to their limits and shape the future of mobility. And it worked. Technologies we now take for granted, anti-lock brakes, seatbelts, front-wheel drive, even the rear-view mirror, all were developed or battle-tested here. They didn't just change racing, they changed how the world moves. While that era of motorsports laid the foundation, what came next lived in driveways and packed gymnasiums across the state. Because while racing defined our spirit, basketball captured our soul. For those who came into town early and were hopefully here on Saturday night, you don't need me to tell you that. The energy you felt in the state when our beloved Pacers made it back to the NBA Finals, it all stems from generations of passion and fandom. From Oscar Robertson's championship runs in the 1950s to Larry Bird's rise in the 1970s. Indiana didn't just love basketball, we lived it, and we built it. 14 of the 16 largest high school basketball gyms in the United States were built in Indiana during this era, an accolade that still holds true today. Basketball wasn't a trend, it was tradition, so real, so rooted that the rest of the country couldn't ignore it. Even Hollywood came calling. In 49 states, it's just basketball. but this is Indiana. That line was first written to help bring a WNBA team to this state, a belief that no place in America deserved it more. And today, that line means even more, because what started as a pitch is now a promise. With the world watching women's sports like never before, Indiana didn't just be part of the moment, we helped build it. By the late 1970s, Indiana's passion for sports transformed into strategy. A coalition of civic and business leaders founded the Indiana Sports Corp, the first organization of its kind in the United States. Their goal? Bring global events to Indiana and boost the state's economy, identity, and its future. Today, there are more than 300 organizations across the United States modeled after the Indiana Sports Corp. But back in 1979, there was just one, and it was here. That bold vision paid off. Just a few years later, Indianapolis hosted the Pan American Games, one of the world's largest international multi-sport events. Over 4,000 athletes from 38 countries competed in 30 different sports across 23 venues throughout our state. And we proved something to the world then, and to ourselves, frankly, that Indiana can deliver on the global stage. Fast forward nearly 4 decades, and Indiana has now hosted more than 500 national and international sporting events on some of the world's biggest stages. But here's what sets us apart. We don't just host, we raise the bar again and again. Take 2012, our first Super Bowl. The New York Giants beat the Patriots, yes, but what really changed the game was what happened outside of the stadium. Downtown Indianapolis became the first ever Super Bowl village, transforming streets into pedestrian promenades and turning public space into the beating heart of the event. That concept, to eventize an entire city, yes, with zip lines, has since become the standard for Super Bowls, NFL drafts, and other major sporting events. When USA Swimming needed a venue for its Olympic team trials before Paris last year, we didn't just retrofit an arena, we reimagined one. Inside Lucas Oil Stadium, we built 3 temporary pools and welcomed more than 285,000 fans, the largest crowd in the history of the event. It was the first time a swim meet had ever taken place in an NFL stadium, and now Los Angeles is planning to follow suit for the 2028 Summer Olympics. Just last year, at NBA All-Star Weekend, we did it again. Indianapolis became the first city to debut the ASB glass floor for the world to see. This interactive LED court is now being tested as the future of how basketball is experienced around the world. Trusting in Indiana to innovate alongside global sports brands doesn't just happen, it's earned. That's why we've hosted 8 NCAA men's Final Fours, the College Football Playoff National Championship, and more than 50 Big Ten basketball and football championship events. Next month, we hope you'll join us back in Indianapolis for the next one, the WNBA All-Star Game, and then again in September when we host TED Sports, TED's first ever conference vertical that is dedicated entirely to sport. Since the inception of the Indiana Sports Corp more than 40 years ago, events like these have generated over $4 billion of economic impact. But even more important is what they've built, an infrastructure, a reputation, an expectation that when Indiana is hosting, the standard goes up. Just ask the mayor of Oklahoma City, who literally just this week published an op-ed after their NBA team, who shall not be named, also made the NBA Finals. Boo. Over the past 20 years, Indiana has become home to one of the most concentrated and complete sports ecosystems in the United States, spanning teams, governing bodies, world-class venues, and research institutions. It starts at the top. We're home to 3 major professional franchises: the Indianapolis Colts of the NFL, the Indiana Pacers of the NBA, and the Indiana Fever of the WNBA. But Indiana isn't just where teams play. It's where the future of sport is governed too. Indiana is the proud home to an unmatched collection of national governing bodies and associations, including USA Football, USA Gymnastics, USA Track and Field, and the NCAA, the governing body for all university sports in the United States, to name a few. Few places in the world offer this level of access, and even fewer have built the support systems to match it. And all these years later, Indiana is still the racing capital of the world. We're home to more than 20 ownership groups and team headquarters, including Andretti, Ed Carpenter, Ganassi, Tony Stewart Racing, and Arrow McLaren. Soon, we'll also be home to America's next Formula One team, TWG Motorsports, joining the grid as Team Cadillac in the upcoming season. And the infrastructure supporting this ecosystem, it's just as impressive. Within 1 square mile of where we're at now in downtown Indianapolis, you'll find Lucas Oil Stadium, our largest, with over 70,000 seats. Gainbridge Fieldhouse, home to the Pacers and the Fever. And Victory Field, one of the top-rated minor league ballparks in the country. Just a short drive north of here, there's Grand Park Sports Campus in Westfield, the largest youth sports complex in the United States, drawing more than 3.4 million visitors every single year. And more than 100 years after the Indianapolis Motor Speedway was first built to test the future of transportation, it's still doing exactly that, only now without drivers. In 2021, the Indy Autonomous Challenge was born, a global competition featuring the brightest minds from the world's top universities. The result? The first ever successful multi-car autonomous race and a new world speed record of 197.7 miles per hour for an autonomous car. This kind of infrastructure at this scale, in this close proximity, just doesn't happen anywhere else. And we're still building. In the next few months, Marvella will break ground in northern Indiana. It'll be the first ever youth sports and leadership facility that is designed specifically for girls and women in sport. And as you may have seen, construction is already underway on a state-of-the-art $78 million sports performance center for the Indiana Fever in the heart of downtown Indianapolis. Now, you might think that would be enough to build a thriving ecosystem around sports tech. But here in Indiana, we know that infrastructure alone isn't enough without a brain trust and a constant pipeline of talent and research to drive innovation forward. Indiana is home to 4 R1 research institutions, fueling breakthroughs in performance science, data analytics, artificial intelligence, and sports management. Our university ecosystem is also home to invaluable assets like Ball State University's Human Performance Lab, Purdue University's Ray Urey Sports Engineering Center, and Indiana University's Institute for Human Health and Well-Being. Notre Dame's Idea Center, where innovation and entrepreneurship intersect with sport, completes an unbelievable ecosystem we have here in Indiana. These programs are not working in isolation, and they're part of something really much bigger, a growing network of people, institutions, and ideas that are shaping what the future of sport can look like. To align that momentum and take it even further, the Indiana Sports Corp launched a renewed strategy, the 2050 vision. This is our state's bold agenda for the future and a clear call to lead in sports tech. That's our lane, because momentum only matters if you can act on it. To show you how we are doing just that, please help me in welcoming to the stage the Executive Director for Sports Tech HQ, Jeffrey Hintz.
Good morning and welcome. Our mission is simple: to help future-proof Indiana's sports economy by building thriving community of sports tech companies. Sports Tech HQ is a nonprofit organization that was born from 2 foundational partners, Indiana Sports Corp and the state of Indiana. Their belief was simple: if Indiana became a global hub for sport, it could also become a global hub for sports tech. Our projections show that the global sports tech industry will surpass $100 billion by 2030. And we won't serve as spectators as that growth happens. We will be a part of shaping it. So what exactly is sports tech? It's a fair question and one we get often. Sports tech is more than just its own industry. It's a convergence of many: fintech, ed tech, SaaS, hard tech, and AI, to name a few. But at its core, we define sports tech as any technology that interacts with 3 key groups: fans, athletes, and teams. For fans, it's everything that enhances their experience, both inside and outside the stadium. Fantasy sports, betting, AR, VR, Second, screens and immersive engagement. For athletes, it spans every stage of development, from youth sports to the pros. This includes wearables, performance evaluation, recovery tools, and training software. It also includes sleep tech, nutrition tracking, sponsorship, and more. Any technology that helps athletes play smarter, recover faster, and reach their full potential, that's sports tech. And for teams, it's the business engine. From venue management, POS systems, smart stadiums, broadcast technology, and sponsorship analytics, sports tech is transforming how the business of sports gets done. So where do we come in? Sports tech has two main priorities. First, to attract companies from around the world and plug them in directly to Indiana's world-class sports ecosystem that you just heard about. Second, to support the companies already here, to help them scale, connect, hire, and innovate. To make sure sports tech that's being built in Indiana also benefits Indiana, from pro teams to youth programs, from universities to startups, from fans to founders. This is our collective. It's a growing network of companies redefining the future of sports right here in Indiana. Today, we're proud to have more than 40 sports tech companies call Indiana home. Since our launch in 2021, we've attracted over 20 of these companies to join our collective. But just as meaningful, the other half were already here. Homegrown companies that believed in Indiana before we ever put a name to this movement. They saw what many of our founding partners did, that Indiana is a rare kind of place, a place where you can scale a company, grow deep roots, and be a part of a collaborative sports ecosystem that does not exist anywhere else. And that foundation, that blend of legacy and momentum is exactly why we continue to attract some of the most exciting companies and technologies in the world. At Sports Tech HQ, we have a saying, stop telling us and show us. So we're gonna do just that, because the best way to understand the power of sports tech is to experience it firsthand. So today, I'm happy to introduce you to a company that we have here. But before we do that, we're about to take you on a modern journey of an athlete. We're going to introduce you to that company that's redefining how talent is discovered and developed. And we're proud to make this moment even more meaningful with a major announcement. AI.io, recently named one of Fast Company's 10 most innovative companies in sports, is expanding their operations to Indiana. This is a game-changing win, not just for our collective, but for the future of sports innovation in our state. Please join me in welcoming all the way from London, England, the Chief Operating Officer of AI.io, Richard Felton Thomas.
Hello, and thank you, Jeff and Sports Tech HQ for having me. They've been superb hosts to AI.io, and we're really excited about being in Indiana and everything it's got to offer on the sporting landscape and tech landscape. So I'll take you through kind of what we do, and as Jeff alluded to. Before I do that, I'm going to ask everyone just to have a little think about what they think talent looks like from a sporting perspective. So you think to your mind when I say, what does talent look like? We have these kind of images in our mind of things like LeBron James or Pascal Siakam dunking the ball. We see amazing plays in American football, and there's a whole host of things we can probably think of when we think of sporting talent. But I'm going to challenge that ever so slightly. So if you think about the idea that, actually, clicker's not working. If sound can hear me, I'll carry on while we try and get the clicker working. In sports, there is a whole host of talent, global talent out there that actually don't get the opportunity to ever be seen. So this idea that talent is everywhere and opportunity is not. I even cast ourselves back to things like the Olympic Games, and we think about America #1, China #2, other big economics around kind of positions 3 through 10. So Australia, the European countries, Japan, South Korea. So all of those countries have lots of infrastructure, lots of access. And what they don't have, actually, is the clicker working, guys? Sorry. No, we'll roll through, I think. There'll be someone to click for us. So, how many world-class athletes will never be seen because their postcode, their income, and their passport? And that's really what AI.io is here to achieve. So I'll take you through what our products do. So you can see on the board there, 3DAT is our primary technology. It uses AI and computer vision to deploy into a mobile phone, which is our AI Scout platform. And deploying into that mobile phone allows kids from anywhere in the world to download an app, and if they're good enough, they can get objective data, be ranked and scored and rated, and hopefully give themselves an opportunity to be seen as talented. We then have AI Lab, so what happens when their talent is found? These kids will be tested all their life in pro sports, so we'll take you through the modern journey of an athlete in AI Labs. Next slide, please. So, the problem. So, like every kind of good entrepreneur here, every business here, there is a problem that needs to be solved. So for us, this was a talent ID problem. So our founder, Darren Perry's, he actually saw this problem firsthand with his sons playing professional sport, soccer, for the Americans here, in the UK, where talent selection was very subjective. It was someone going out in a coat on a Sunday morning to find the next best talent, the next Ronaldo, the next Messi. But that subjective by nature meant that you needed the scout to be in the right place at the right time on the right day to see that talent and hope that talent has a really good game. So he leapt forward 6 years in the future and saw a world where how can we solve this? How can we do this a better way using AI and ultimately a mobile phone? And that's where we've come to today. So as we carry on, please, thank you. So this kind of slide here is trying to just kind of show you where the talent problem really comes in. So across the world, talent is equitable. There is talent in every corner of the globe. But before scouts and coaches can even get to the point of seeing that talent, there's a huge filtering process that happens. There is geographic barriers. So if they don't have access to facilities or opportunities in their country, we don't know that talent even exists. We have economic factors. I think in the US, there's a big pay-to-play model around our sports. There's probably parents in this room that's probably witnessed that and felt that themselves. So if you don't have the money, you have a barrier already. So we're filtering out that talent again. And then there's social bias. Social bias exists in many forms. We have a preconceived idea of what talent looks like sometimes. And also there's just poor representations for some groups across various different sports. So then what you're left with is actually a very small talent pool for the scouts even to start their subjective process from. So we've got a twofold problem. We've got the subjectivity, and we've actually got a talent pool that's already been filtered out by various issues. And on the next slide, you'll see that's really what we tried to solve. So for a mobile phone, just a mobile phone, no wearables, no markers, we democratize the opportunity to analyze yourself, to test yourself, and connect that data directly to sports teams and professional organizations. So we get rid of those barriers. We do that with a technology called 3DAT. So 3DAT stands for 3D athlete tracking. It was built with the biggest athlete data set in the world through various Olympic Games. And what you'll see on the next slide is various videos of just that tracking in action. And actually, this is multi-sport. This could be anything in the world. What's really unique about this is completely video agnostic. So it doesn't matter whether that video is a mobile phone, a CCTV footage, it's ripped off YouTube. If you put an athlete in front of the screen, you will see tracking. You'll get tracking, and that will be turned into data and insights. And what we've done is deployed that into that mobile phone. So it doesn't matter where you are in the world, you can download an app, you can do these drills, you can do these assessments and get some metrics that we connect to those professional organizations. For us as a team, what's really important as well is this is a new way of trialing. This is the way that the athletes of the future are going to try and connect themselves to professional teams and organizations. So it's not just about the technology of 3DAT. We've got to have a multidisciplinary team that connects the kind of AI, deep learning, computer vision, thank you, sir, along with our biomechanists and our sports scientists to make sure that the insights and the actions that come from that are meaningful to the clubs and the players and the parents. It's all deployed in the cloud, so this is AI in the cloud, and we do that because that means that we can work with different cloud providers in different territories and mean that AI models can still work and service the user. And also what's really important is just the product team. So the UX and UI, a new way of trialing, watching videos, understanding how to do it. Parents haven't even seen this before. So naturally there's going to be some skepticism about, does this really work? Can I really download an app and get my son or daughter an opportunity in sport? That's brilliant, it works. So how do we discover that athlete? So what I'm going to show you through here is just how the mobile app looks today. I encourage everyone to download this. It's free for the user, that's really important. We don't charge the parents and the players to access these opportunities. It's the clubs and it's their brands that pay because they want to find the talent. They want to reach out to the audience. So it's on them to bring the economics to that, and therefore it's free to those end users. And what you can kind of see on the right there, there's that genuine videos around the world of players doing exactly the same drill. It's called a 7-cone weave, where it's the kid there in Canada in 8 meters of snow down to the kid in the bottom there who's in India, who's had to use its rocks and its backpacks and its cones as their cones. But the point is, everyone here has been able to have the same opportunity just by downloading an app to a mobile phone. But a really important piece of that as well is, okay, the so what. So we can track it, we can get some insights, we can get some metrics. How do we really make that meaningful to our clubs and our organizations? We go through a process of benchmarking all the pro players that are at the clubs and organizations we work with. So what that means, in the case of this young woman here, is she enters trials for Chelsea women's team. She will be scored and ranked and rated based on the Chelsea players of her age and her gender at that team. So she immediately gets insights on where she's winning and losing, what she needs to work on, without having to spend thousands of pounds on a coach to get those insights. And that data, like I said, goes through to the actual club and organization. So that club and organization get what's called our control center, and they get a scout app. They get connected to the player data, and they can use that as a recruitment tool. So back to that skepticism. So where are we now? Over the last 2 years, over 350 players have been trialed or signed through this process of just using a mobile phone, with some great use cases of great clubs in the Premier League or Major League Soccer that have found talent through this, players that have never had a trial before from a professional team. But perhaps a little bit more inspiring, we've got things like in India, where players have downloaded the app ultimately to a shared community phone, so not even their own mobile phone, and now they're on 5-year scholarships with a full ride. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you a quick 1-minute video of the work we've done with Intel and the Olympics in Senegal. So Senegal got the Youth Olympics next year, and there was a big talent drive last year to try and find and unearth new talent ahead of those Youth Olympics. I encourage you all to go onto YouTube and just put in Olympics in Senegal and watch the 5-minute version of this, but this should give you a flavour of the impacts that we can have through this technology.
We're here in Senegal, partnered with the Senegalese National Olympic Committee, to uncover the best young talent in the country. We're actually deploying a revolutionary program that helps us analyze talent using artificial intelligence. This is something that's never been possible before. And with our partnership with Intel, it gives us that ability to analyze millions of metrics and data points. And those metrics identify talent. Being here really allows us to see how this technology can change lives. We know combining sports and technology has that power to do that. It has a massive impact across the country and the ability to really change the future of so many young people. This tool will ultimately provide the opportunity for young children to better their lives through sport.
So that program, there was 40 players identified in a week-long kind of run of deploying that technology actually into schools. So tablets were given to teachers to record athletes, and 40 of those are now on an elite performance program ahead of those Senegal Youth Olympics. So great success happening there. But that discovery piece, we've got discovery is only the beginning. So what happens now we found the talent? As I said at the top, young talent, they will now be subject to constant testing as they go through their careers in sport. And typically, that type of testing is very closed box. It's done by sports scientists and coaches. It takes a while to analyze all the data from the various bits of equipment that are being used, and then they give the players plans. They give them performance plans, but very rarely is the athlete along for that journey. And our AI Labs is designed to change that. So what you can see on the screen here is our mobile lab. It drives around to the different clubs and organizations we work with. Players come into that high-performance facility. And as soon as they go on a piece of equipment, they see real-time leaderboards, they see real-time reports, they get real-time insights, and they can stand there with their coach and look at where they're winning and losing in relation to their peers, in relation to standards and benchmarks that the club may have. So it's really important to us that the player themselves are included in this data. They're including their own data journey. They want to have personalized plans, and they want to be environments where the coaches and the sports scientists are bringing them along for that journey. We completely run and operate these labs, so we custom brand them for the organizations we work with, and then we come in and run and operate them so they don't have to worry about staff leaving and not being able to use the technology. It's something we're very, very proud of operating for them. We bring that 3D tracking into the lab as well, so rather than just saying, hey, how high did this player jump, we can actually tell exactly how they achieve that performance. Is it ankle-based movement? So we've got left-right symmetry issues. So we can be really hyper-personalized within our plans. We do maturation analysis in there, there's cognitive assessments, there's a whole raft of things that we can do inside those performance labs. But really the key thing here is beyond just great UX and UI, again, with great player reports, is we know now the future athlete is, they are insight aware, they do want to be empowered by their data, they do want to know that their plan is really personalized to them, that not just on a generic plan that's for everybody. And that's really what our labs are there to deliver. Let them be engaged with the data, because that's their future. So, where are we now? I think obviously we're at a business conference. It's nice to leave a few logos and what we're doing right now. So working with leagues and organizations, onboarding different clubs who are giving more and more young people opportunities to succeed through sport. You've seen the technology with 3DAT, so it doesn't have to be exclusive to soccer. You've seen a lot of soccer, so there's other industries we're moving into as well. We think about if there's human movement, it's worth analyzing it, we can do it. And on from that, I think one of the biggest things that we move into next is AI medical. So AI medical giving us the opportunity to think about at-home healthcare and not having to see a physician to do your rehab. That's an area and space we're moving into. And Ollie, the composer here, I think he said something about talkers and analysing talkers. I think maybe Ollie, if you're listening, we'll look at that one next. So as I kind of fumbled a little bit at the beginning here around talent because I had no clicker and that threw me off. But it's almost like I've planned this. I'm just going to come back to that talent idea. So talent is universal and brilliance exists in every corner of the world. That's factual. There is talent everywhere to be found. It's been said that the greatest inequality in sport isn't skill, it's that access, it's that exposure, it's the ability to be seen and have an opportunity. So our belief with AI.io is the future athlete isn't just gifted, with us they're finally visible. Thank you for your time.